at the time of Dhuhr. That's the earliest it can be done. The earliest that the Jum'ah can be established is when Dhuhr comes in. And there's a small group of scholars who hold the view that the Jum'ah can be performed and established at the time of the Eid prayer. 15 to 20 minutes after sunrise. From those ulama was one of the versions of Imam Ahmad's madhab and his riwayah anhu. And others, they held that view. And they have proof for that. But most of the schools of thought, they hold the view that the earliest is Dhuhr. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ did. They say in most cases, their proofs and their evidence is. Alright? So that's the earliest according to them. And it doesn't necessarily have to be made right on the dot of Dhuhr. If it's beneficial, 30 minutes later, whatever the case may be. Alright? And Allah knows best. Fadl.
I know Allah makes it very clear with God's inheritance. And with God's this thing which we hold our mother. Now, if your mother, if she swindles you out of your inheritance, if she instigates fitna between you and your sister,
Okay.
and she's very, very, very hard to you. So it's hard for you to have a normal relation with her. It makes you very, very bad, feel bad.
Clear. Dissension.
Do you can you like not talk to her? Can you what is
Well, first and foremost is the inheritance is supposed to be the money that your heirs receive after your death. Anything that's given or discussed during life is not inheritance. The will and the inheritance is the money that is supposed to be given and taken after the Muslim dies. Period. So many people, they make the mistake or error of giving out money, giving out a house. You take this house, first son, you take the second house while they're alive. They're not even sick. Father, etc. That's a problem. And that's incorrect. Let alone the oppression that takes place. I give you the big house because you're my favorite son. And I give you the small house and you get nothing. Right? Unfortunately, that's not right. If you're my three sons, all of you are supposed to get what? Equal. According to Quran and Sunnah. So that's the first issue. As far as the question, regardless, right or wrong, it's your mother. She still has a haqq. She still has a status. And she still gave birth to you and brought you into this world, whether you like it or not. That's your mother. And refuge is sought in Allah. And Allah tells us to use that which is best to repel that which is worse. Right? To take the best and repel the worst. That's what you do with regards to your mother or your father, etc. And of course, dysfunctionality within families, the shaitan, malice, and hasad, the ghiba within families, may Allah help us all. It's something that, many of us suffer from. And Allah knows best. Fadl akhi.
So, me and my friend were talking about this today. What's the ruling on 2 jama'ah for Jumu'ah?
2 jama'ah for Jumu'ah, that's fine if there's a need. The masjid is too small, there are a lot of people, or different work schedules, etc. Khayran. There's nothing wrong with that. As far as if there's no need, then it should be avoided. Inshallah. Alright? Fadal akhi.
I was wondering, are there situations where it's like you're supposed to make dua for non-Muslims, or is it like...
Is there a situation in which you can make a dua for non-Muslim? Some situations, with regards to a non-Muslim family member who's sick. Some scholars allow that, praying for their health and their guidance. Things like this. You make dua for them to be Muslim, etc. Yeah, as far as, sick, meaning they're ill in this world. As far as once they die and they leave this world, forgiveness, mercy, no. That's prohibited. And Allah knows best. Question from online.
Initial DR from Toronto, Canada. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. For a parent to say, I don't want to advise my daughter about certain aspects of the deen, like bad company, to public, etc. Because I'm afraid she'll run away if I tell her don't do this and don't do that. Is this from the tricks of the shaitan? Are fathers responsible for advising their daughters or only mothers?
With regards to a father who doesn't want to advise his daughter because he's afraid she'll run away, it'll push her further away, are the mothers only responsible for whatever the problem the daughter has? Not covering, not praying, whatever the case may be, etc. Fathers are responsible for giving advice to their children just like mothers are responsible, regardless of the sex and the gender. Rather, the father is not only responsible for advice, but he's also responsible for enforcement of Allah's laws on his children. And of course, she's 16, 17, 8, that's a different story. Maybe it's difficult to enforce. But as long as they're under your roof, you feed them, you buy their sneakers, you take care of them, it is your job to advise them, teach them, be there for them, help them, and also to enforce the rules of Allah upon them. So, once again, you're my youngest son. You don't want to wake up for Salat al-Fajr. I don't want to wake you up. I don't want to be too harsh. He says, leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. It's my job as your father to do what? I have to wake him up. Whether he likes it or not. Whether he's convinced that he has to pray when it's dark or not. It's my job. We'll hack at that. If you're in my household and you're smoking blunts, right? Smoking blunts is clearly haram. I try to tell you not to smoke blunts. I never raised you to smoke blunts. I never had a weed addiction. Why are you smoking? Who taught you to do that? If I find the weed and the blunts, the lighters in the household, it's my job to destroy them, to burn them, to get rid of them. Even though you're not convinced that you should stop or leave me alone, etc. It's my job to enforce the Sharia. As far as if you're bigger than me, stronger than me, tougher than me, or maybe afraid, you may only have to give advice to your son, and that's a problem. If your son is past the point in which you have the control over him, in which he respects and fears you, that's a problem as a father. And a well-raised son, a good father, the fear, the respect, the awe is always supposed to remain in the child's heart and mind. Is this not the case? You may be able to take your father in a fair one today. Old, sick, whatever, but that's dad, that's Abby. You're supposed to raise them properly, even though he's bigger and stronger than you. But when the child is so rambunctious, so unruly, in which they have no respect, no fear, no awe, and what the father says or the mother says is a problem that happened years ago in the parenting that you're now paying the price there for. Or you may be too weak yourself. Your children may say, well, Abby, you do it. I saw you smoking blunts. Or Umi told me you used to smoke blunts when you first got married. Or you don't pray Fajr, Abby. Right? You're a hypocrite. You don't do it, you want me to do it. I may be too shy to enforce the rules, or I may be too cowardly. I don't want him to, feel I'm too harsh. His friends don't do it. His other friends smoke weed. They vape. They have recreational marijuana. Well, I don't want to be too harsh. So if you can't enforce, then at least give advice. Even if you fall into it yourself. Even if you're too weak yourself, but don't be silent. At least give some type of verbal advice to your children. So therefore, in brief, it's the father's duty and the mother's duty to enforce the rules. And it's the father and the mother's duty to give advice to both cross genders, cross sex. The mother gives advice to the son, the father gives advice to the daughter, vice versa. And Allah knows best. Follow John.
Is crowdfunding, does crowdfunding come under begging?
Crowdfunding doesn't come under begging. In general, it can. Yeah, you're asking people for money. So it can come under begging. Of course, there are times in Islam in which begging is a major sin. And there are times in Islam in which begging is lawful. However, there lies no doubt in the modern era, crowdfunding is sometimes specific with regards to social media. Followers, fans, admirers, people, I want to support your movement. I like your videos. I enjoy your videos. Your videos got me through hard times. I want to give back. Everyone doesn't have the ability to give you a handshake with money, or how can I fund you? How can I buy you a new camera? How can I support your cause, etc. So oftentimes it's not begging, but oftentimes it is a platform and you providing the chance for Muslims to give sadaqah and to perform hasanat. And then of course sometimes crowdfunding is actually what? Begging. But not absolutely. Because oftentimes you have a platform for funding and you don't ask for nothing, but it's there. At the end of the video, the links, this, such and such, here, follow us here, buy merchandise, etc., etc., etc. And for those who want to support the channel, fund the channel, to allow us to do these videos, better videos, higher quality videos, you can donate. So that's not always begging. But sometimes it is what? No doubt. It's no different than asking for sadaqah, begging and begging. And Allah knows best. Hassan. Hassan.
The conditions of sujood as-sahw, like, is a mistake in forgetting in salat the same day?
Sujood as-sahw, a mistake, etc., etc. Sujood as-sahw is going to be for something that you did extra unintentionally, something that you did less unintentionally, or having a doubt about one of the two. 5 rakah, 4 rakah, 3 or 2, etc. That's what's meant by a mistake that you forget about, that slipped your mind, and then later on it comes back to you, and you don't finish your prayer without repairing your prayer. Clear? That's in brief. Fadl, I mean.
No, I was just, as it relates to the Sheikh's question, it seemed like you didn't fully understand what he was saying. I think he was talking about the inheritance that he was supposed to get from his father.
Inheritance that you're supposed to get from your father?
From his
Okay.
father, but
Okay.
then the mother swindled it out of him.
Usurped them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think
Or
that's
usurped
what
it.
he was mentioning, because you mentioned.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't get it. Forgive me. Thank you. So father left behind money and the mother was being nasty and volatile. And she prevented you from taking the inheritance of the father, correct? And then instigating, and now you don't want to talk to your mother. No, you still have to talk to your mother. The mother is the ace of spades. Bottom line. It's the highest, she's the queen on the chessboard, the most powerful piece. Whatever wrong she does is between her and Allah. She's still your mother. Now, obviously you're a human being. What she did was wrong, clearly prohibited in the Quran and the Sunnah, but she's still your mother. She's still your mom. Bottom line. That's your mother. You gotta give her advice. Try to enjoy the good, forbid the evil. Try to stop her from her evil, but she's still your mother.
Give her a gift.
Yeah, it's rough. It's easier said than done. We all have family situations. And like I said, that's your mother. And of course, let's not be fake, right? The status of the mother, if your mother is clearly doing evil, unfortunately, and she's, like I said, just a negative, toxic person, unfortunately, you're not just going to be as chipper and happy and go, joyous when you see her, of course. You're not going to speak with her and talk with her and be around her the same as you would with a family member who's not like that. But even if you have to fake a smile, she wants you to smile, fake a smile. She asks you for money, take me here, do this, you have to do it. Because that's your mother.
Might be a ticket in the gym.
And Allah knows best. Jazakallah khairan. Alaikum salam, rahmatullah. Tfadal.
Now I pray, I follow Imam. Imam leave me 2 rakah, he make a salam. Now I buy my rakah. Somebody follow me. I make a salam. Somebody follow me. No problem that.
Somebody followed the Imam after he salammed out from 2?
Follow Imam.
Traveling?
No, he salams, the imam salams out.
Okay.
Now he becomes the imam and somebody joins him.
That's fine.
Then I make a salam. Somebody follow this guy again.
Yeah, I understand. If they didn't know that you were following the Imam and they wanted to pray with you, that's fine. Obviously, it shouldn't be something that people keep doing intentionally. But if someone joined, they saw you praying and they stood next to you, khayr inshallah. And Allah knows best. No problem. Question from online.
Initials AK from Niagara Falls. What is the balance of view on gender interactions in an MSA setting? Is smiling, laughing, or joking in the presence of the opposite gender impermissible?
What's the balanced view regarding gender interaction or free mixing in the MSA? Can you laugh, can you smile, can you joke, etc.? The MSA is nothing more than a branch of the college. Many Muslims, our young brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah, they want to practice the deen, they want to do the right thing, but they don't have all of the proper ilm. the MSA is not an Islamic state within a non-Islamic state. Many people, they think that. Is that the haram that you do, the makruh that you do, the doubtful that you do, is now totally prohibited and shamed within the MSA. And the rules now apply just because it's the MSA. Many people, they think that. So that's a problem. And it doesn't mean that you do whatever you want. You don't have any shyness. But you can't just do what, khalas, with the non-Muslims in the class, but when the Muslims come in the room for the MSA, oh, this is haram. Don't say this. Don't sit there. It doesn't work like that. Gender interaction, which is impermissible, is impermissible. Inside, outside of the MSA. Gender interaction, which is permissible, whether it's Muslim or non-Muslim. Khalas. Smiling at someone, laughing with someone, making a joke with someone, if it's properly done, it's permissible. And if it's improperly done, it's impermissible. Alright? You can smile at somebody without flirting, inshallah. Okay? You can make a joke with someone without flirting, without being lewd, professional in the college. You go to college with these people. You're in the same building, studying with the same objectives, getting a degree, etc. So a bit of realism is needed here. And Allah knows best. Father Khalid.
Muhammad Salah from Farawaniya, Kuwait. What to do if forced to take the vaccine?
What to do if forced to take the vaccine? Not much you can do if you're forced. Force. The word itself is self-explanatory. You're forced. Someone uses force on you. You have no choice, no option. What can you do? Seek Allah's refuge. Ask Allah for protection from doing something or anything that you don't want to do, you feel is harmful or haram to do. If your parents or whoever, the country, if they force you, you have no choice, no sin upon you. And ask Allah for protection from any potential harm or danger from a vaccine or other than a vaccine. Wallahu alam. Fadl ya akhi.
Can you have a friend of the opposite gender?
Can you have a friend of the opposite gender? Tayyib. Similar to the previous answer. How you behave with the opposite gender is going to be a reflection of your Islam. How much knowledge you have and how much you practice that knowledge. Alright? If you just meet a friend, somebody that you go to school with, you have projects to do together, she speaks to you, you speak to her, blah, 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 you keep it respectful, that's my friend. I know her, she knows me, we were in the same class. That's one thing. As far as we go hang out, we eat pizza together, bubble tea together, we do this together, so on and so forth. It ain't like that. No, that's my friend. I don't think about her, she don't think about me. That's just my what? My friend. Then of course, that's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. You understand what I'm saying to you? But you got to understand is that that's only a reflection of you and the different levels of Muslims. If I'm a person who's making salah, alhamdulillah, I'm trying to do the right thing. I don't know that much. I'm not the most special Muslim. Just, and there's a sister, Muslim or whatever, a non-Muslim or a Muslim sister. Hey, what's up? That's Tracy, such and such, such and such. That's not the same as the brother who's learned a lot, who's practicing a lot, who's striving harder. His relationship, his wala wal bara, his interaction is going to be what? It's going to be different. So just make sure you focus on building your fundamentals and practicing, learning more, and inshallah all of those things will become clearer the stronger you grow in your practice. Inshallah. Top of the adhan. تفضل شيخ بسم الله بارك الله فيكم.
Allah.
You gotta ask. I don't know how much time we got. Probably take one more question.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good.
أشهد أن محمد
محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
It's all right, we'll take a few. Su'alain bas.
No problem. Inshallah.
Let's take one or two more questions from online briefly. Fadal Khalid.
Abu Idris, Adam Husseinovic, now in Tampa, Florida. May Allah reward you and bless you for your time. Is there expiation for missing the beginning of Jumu'ah?
Is there expiation for missing the beginning of Jumu'ah? If you missed the beginning of Jumu'ah accidentally or circumstantially, you know, it wasn't your fault, khair. As long as you make the salah, alhamdulillah, on time with the imam. As far as if you were heedless, negligent, you didn't prioritize, you didn't manage your time the proper way, you missed out, khalas. Once the imam comes, the angels, they fold up their books, their scrolls, and they themselves listen to the good word, the dhikr. You've missed out. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a sin or whatever. You don't have that virtue. Wallahu a'lam.
Initials IN from Western Australia. I'm a hunter. Are animal traps that kill by causing blood loss halal to use to obtain meat?
Tayyib, with regards to a trap for an animal that causes blood loss, is it permissible to use for meat? In general, no. There are rulings for hunting. First and foremost is hunting with the ability to slaughter. Can you hunt an animal even though you have the ability to slaughter another animal for sustenance and provision? And of course, there are certain things in hunting which would normally, under normal circumstances, wouldn't be allowed. Okay, the arrow that hits the animal or a bullet that hits the animal, it leaves the animal's body, it causes blood loss. It's not the same as the blood flowing from the carotids. It's not the same as the windpipe being cut, etc. Alright, that's first and foremost. As far as it causes blood loss, what do you mean by blood loss? Similar to a projectile or a trap in which is painful and torturous to the animal, and the amount of blood and the flow of blood and the nature of the flow of blood is not the same as the sharp blade across the throat or the projectile. There's a huge difference between a sharp projectile, a sharp blade across the throat, and a trap that causes a great amount of blood along with suffering and a slow death. Okay? Allah knows best. We'll stop here tonight. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.